Hi and hello. Welcome back. We are doing a virtual interview today. My name is Ariana and I am the founder of More. We are working to make opportunities reachable for everyone by curating content that educates, inspires, and calls people to action. Today, we are jumping back into our founder to founder interviews. I have two girls that I've already started kind of chatting up. I'm super excited to dive more into like the origin story because I'm slightly mind blown right now. But I got to meet Shreya through our internship program that I can't even think. It was like a few years, it was like 2 years ago, 1 year ago. But I'm just blown away. I love our interns and the entrepreneurship that comes through and getting to chat through ideas and visions. Like in our mentoring minutes, always just it fills my cup. And I'm super excited to have one of our interns, which we've never had on our founder to founder, which is super cool to me. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys introduce yourself. We are going to dive into this blog and all the topics and personal stories that I feel like you share and the insights that you bring to light in conversation. So take it away, girls.
I can start.
Yeah.
Um, Hi, I'm Shreya. I am currently a junior at Indiana University. I'm studying marketing and digital technology management. Fun fact, next semester I'm studying abroad in Milan, which is super exciting. But things I'm a part of, other than my blog, of course, is I'm a part of Women in Business at IU. I'm a Kelly mentor, and I also am part of an organization called Ross Royalty. So we just organize a dance competition for a form of dance called Ross.
That's amazing.
Hi, I'm Nikitha. I'm the other co-founder of the Pasupu, and I'm also a junior. I go to school at Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond, Virginia. I'm a bioinformatics major with computer science minor, and some of the organizations I'm in are I'm also on a competition board dance team for Ross called River City Ross, and I'm part of our school's competitive Ross Garba team, which is called Ricochet Ross. So yeah.
That's amazing. Look at you guys with your elevator speeches. So down. I love it. Shreya, I didn't know you were studying abroad. That's exciting. And going to Milan.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited. I know study abroad has been something I've wanted to do for a really long time. I think that was one of the reasons why I chose to come to IU in the first place, is because they have so many study abroad options. So I'm really excited. I'm not a US citizen, so growing up it was really hard, like seeing all my friends going abroad, or not abroad, but just traveling with their families and kind of being jealous and knowing that I wouldn't be able to do that just because of my status. So now that I'm able to have that opportunity, it's so exciting and it kind of feels like a little childhood dream come true.
That's amazing. Congrats. Wow, I didn't know travel was like on the list for you. So that's amazing. I can't wait to hear about it. Okay, so both of you, I feel like I'm learning so much, which yes, that is the point of these interviews. But you guys are both like on a competitive dance team and like can I know more about that?
Yeah, I can go ahead. I'm on the dance team as well as the dance team like competition board. So that's what we both share in common is a competition board. So we essentially Ras is a form of dance from a state in India called Gujarat, and we essentially host a competition for 8 different teams around the country to come, and they participate in a mixer on a Friday night where the teams get to mingle, get to know each other, and then on Saturday, they compete against each other in the national circuit of competitions, hoping to place once like one through third place and see whichever teams are the best of the circuit for the season each year. So we get to be a part of a large board that takes care of their meals, their transportation, their housing, their like entertainment and merchandise and all things like that for the whole weekend.
That's amazing. That is so cool. And then okay, so Shreya, are you on a team or only on the board then?
No, I'm only on the planning board, so I don't dance. But it's really cool to see the behind the scenes of the competition, and just how seriously it's taken too. Like a lot of the dancers who do come, they do really, really love Ross and placing at these competitions. And basically, when you place the top three at the competition, you get a certain amount of points. And overall across the country, whatever teams get, I believe the top 8 points perform at nationals. So mine and Nikita's competitions are called bid competitions. So teams will come and this competition actually counts towards them being able to perform at nationals.
Okay. That is so cool. That's amazing. And I think, I mean, we're obviously going to talk more about like cultural identity and like how that feeds our souls and feeds into like the things that we do in our life. But I love dance, and I love that you both are like diving into a piece of it that brings you closer to like your culture and like your story. So that's amazing. I love that. Very cool. And thank you for all that you do to create that space for I apparently like national teams to come and also live that with you. So that's just wow. I'm getting chills. That is so cool. Okay. Well, awesome. Well, okay. So Nikita and I were talking a little bit before you jumped on, Shreya, and I had no idea that you guys became friends before meeting each other, which I guess like in the digital age, like that's not that crazy. I feel like I'm saying hi to people and be like, oh, I'm meeting you for the first time in real life, even though you feel like you already know them. But I think just like starting a business with somebody with that like beginning is so wild to me. Do you guys mind talking like let's dive into the blog. Like how did it get started? Did it I mean, how did that come from like meeting each other online?
Yeah, I kind of start on like mine and Nikita's story together, and then I get she can dive deeper into the blog's meaning and just how we created it in the first place and why we wanted to create it. But how me and Nikita met. So my best friend, I'm from Illinois. My best friend, we grew up together, met in fourth grade, and then around sixth grade, she moved to Virginia. I'm a very social person. I would always call her, and she introduced me to some of her friends. And I had visited her once in Virginia before. I did not meet Nikita at that point, but she just had introduced me to one of her friends. And this was during closer to when COVID started, so just random group FaceTime calls, and me and Nikita became really close. And it was really awesome because we were both from the same part of India, so we felt really connected in that way. And also Nikita just has a connection to someone back in Naperville too. She's cousins with someone I'm common friends with. So we were super mind blown of, oh my God, the world is so small. Like this, we just met through one of our close friends, and I just happened to be related to someone who lives in the same area as you. But that's how me and Nikita met, and we decided to do the blog together just because we felt that we were very similar. We stood for a lot of the same things, and that we wanted to drive change in our community.
That's awesome. And okay, so I guess curious here. So when you say our community, what does that mean to you?
Did you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. So like me and Shreya when we met, so we're both Telugu. We're both from the southern part of India, and there's two states in India that speak the language of Telugu. And so obviously like there is a very big difference between South India and North India, and actually a lot of people don't know that when because India gets like generalized as one thing, but there are many languages and cultures and different things throughout all of India. And so we just like connected on a different level that like not many people can like it's not really easy to find, I feel like sometimes. And so we decided that also this is like a common topic on our blog actually, how there's a lot of South Indian underrepresentation, and most of the time when India is represented, all the North Indian traditions and customs and values are passed along, and South India doesn't really get the recognition that we would like it to. And so we both had like a common passion for this, and knew that we grew up with people who kind of felt a similar way, and we didn't want the future generations and kids after us to feel like, oh, they don't have anyone they can relate to. And that's also one of the reasons why we started the blog in general, just to create that platform for people to be able to realize that they're not alone. And there are people that have gone through issues being like first gen like Indian Americans in the country, and that they have someone that they can relate to.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's oh, I love that. And I feel like I often struggle with having patience and empathy when people do generalize. Like I'm Mexican, but I feel like people would just say, "Oh, you're Latina," and then like they don't ask any other questions, and they'll just some people assume I'm like a Spain Latina or like whatever it is. And it's like so hard because it's like you see things in media that are like bringing attention or conversations or light to part of how you identify, but not really acknowledging I mean, how complex all the like all the different cultures are and like how like I can't think of the words, but like how like I don't know, to me it's so special. Like the characteristics that make your culture, your family like who they are. And to have it generalized can be so frustrating because it's like, well, I'm happy that you like know about this one thing, but like I would really love it if we could be specific and like dive like further into it because it has so much meaning behind it. And so that's I love the intentionality that it sounds like both of you started this with and like the conversations that you focus on. And so I'm gonna kind of like go back to what you were talking about, like when you were getting it started and like wanting to create change in your community. So when you talked about it, you were talking about like change or conversation, people, spaces for people to join and be a part of as they grow up. Do you see some of the community also involving or including people who are older than you and like encouraging, empowering them to start those conversations?
Yeah, 100%. So I think it was 2 summers ago where me and Nikita had interviewed one of my family friends who was a licensed therapist. That's not a route that most South Asians take. It's a very obviously just like any other Asian household, you know, where we're what is it called? Influenced to become a doctor, engineer, all those basic paths. So this was kind of, out of the way. So she was talking about that, and we were asking her about, South Asian mental health and how it's very underlooked. And we were kind of talking about the root of the problem, which is our parents, because it didn't exist back then. And she talked about things or literal Telugu phrases, because she's also Telugu, of our parents and how that kind of actually translates into anxiety and how they don't even
Mhm.
realize it. So stepping back and taking the time to educate our parents and first seeing their mental health issues that they might have dealt with, growing up, the stuff that they deal with now, and that'll allow them to better understand what we're going through. And it was super awesome. She gave us a lot of resources for people our age and younger to seek out mental health resources for, as well as like a script of how to approach your parents saying that you want to seek therapy. And she even gave us a resource to a place where you don't it was like a uh, $10 per appointment, where you are sitting down with graduate students who are studying sociology and are in pursuit of becoming a therapist. But yeah, that was what this post is about, and it actually became viral. It has thousands of views on our page, and because of that, a lot of people in both of our communities, not just people our age, college students or high school students, our parents actually read it and their perspectives changed, and they've become a lot more open-minded about mental health, seeking therapy, and understanding that stress and anxiety isn't just things that you can brush away, or you go on a run or do meditation, it'll go away. They realize that it's a really big issue. So that was a really big impactful post that me and Nikita worked on, and we realized that we can target a lot more people than just those that are our age and the coming generations. We can actually try to drive change with the future, or with the older generations.
And just like a personal experience I've had, and I'm sure Shreya you can relate to this, is just parents of like kids I grew up with and other people who have come to me in the past couple of years that we've been doing this and being like, I read your post and it really changed my perspective, or I'm really starting to see how what I'm saying could be affecting my child, or just starting to even like gain the understanding and becoming more self-aware that like their words really do have an impact, and they can change how they're acting and help their children instead of more generations continuing to face the same struggles.
That's incredible, and I think we did an article, I think in, like, issue 3 that talked about, like, mental health and culture and how a lot of, like, families of color, like, mental health either doesn't exist or, like, everyone's fine or you pretend that everything's fine, and that's incredible that you were able to partner with somebody that made it, 1, accessible, and then 2, like, how to start the conversation. Because I think a lot of the time, starting the conversation can be so hard, especially when it's with people that normally set the tone of the day, the conversation in the household. And that's amazing. How what was that like? I feel like I have a lot of friends who are also first gen and around my age, and like a lot of us are working to explain to our parents, one, like what we do, because I'm also Filipino and I had to explain to my whole side why I was pursuing business and not engineering or anything in the medical field. And I think there's all you always want your parents' approval, like, to some degree, especially as you're growing up, and so how what was that like for the 2 of you? One, starting something that, like, I my parents could have never thought that I'd start something like a magazine, and I mean, you're doing something similar with a blog and, like, creating this forum, And so what was it like kind of introducing that idea and that passion to your parents, as well as like starting some of these like not easy conversations?
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So I know Nikita's gonna start laughing soon, but I remember when we started our blog, she had told her parents, and I had decided to not tell mine because I was really, really scared. And
Mhm.
months had gone by, and she'd always say, Shreya, are you gonna tell your parents soon? Like, you should tell them soon. How long are you gonna keep this a secret? And we started the blog during 2020, so this is the time, this is an era of social justice. A lot of Black Lives Matter things were happening. And I remember right when I started my blog, my mom, obviously she didn't know I started my blog, and she came up to me and she said, make sure you're not posting about your political opinions or anything regarding that on social media because, you're getting into college and you don't want things to be interpreted the wrong way by, I don't know, just call it college admission people or, your job recruiters in the future. And that got me scared. Like, she said that to me, and then I have my blog. I didn't really know how she's going to take it. But eventually I did tell my parents, and I think my mom was kind of confused at first. She didn't really understand why I was talking about this. But I think after a while, she understood the importance and she realized the need that there is for a platform like this. And she was supportive, and she still is to this day. She always goes around and is like, "My daughter has this blog." And then from the moment I told my dad, he was so supportive because we were just using the general free Wix website, and he said, okay, well, you guys need a domain, you guys need a proper plan. You can't just, if you really want to take this seriously, I want you to, be as professional as possible, like you're going to be a business student. So he was super on board of helping me and Nikita set up a more professional webpage for us.
Oh, that's awesome. That is so cool. And I feel like there's something so encouraging and empowering about having somebody close to you like want to help invest in you. And I mean, getting started, I feel like in Indiana, I don't know what it is like in Illinois or Virginia for that matter, but filing as a business is like not that expensive to do. It's like 25 to 50 bucks. But getting the website and the domain and the plan, like that's where I was like, I'm gonna use my tax return on this one because like it's a lot of money at first. That's wild. What was it like for you,
Yeah.
Nikita?
Yeah, I was gonna say I told my parents immediately because, well, first of all, we were in quarantine and there's no way I was hiding anything from my parents when we're all in the same house together. Because we did start this blog in the like peak like May, June of like just right at the beginning of when everything was getting started. But I also knew they would be supportive, but I also knew that tough, challenging like conversations would come with it along the way. Because a lot of the things that I am really passionate about talking about are like colorism is like the main topic, because I just feel like it runs so prevalently in all of the Indian communities, North Indian, South Indian, whatever, almost to the fact where it's just like all they know. And that's what we've come to realize is like you go to India and you talk to any of your relatives or even of any of your relatives that live here, that haven't really made the conscious effort to think about this like pattern that they've been taught. But the first greeting you'll get met with is, "Oh, you've gotten so dark," or "You've gained weight," or "Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you eating that?" or "You look too skinny." And like all these comments at first used to make me really angry, and I just couldn't understand why someone would greet you like that after not seeing you for years and think that that was okay. But I came to learn that that was just what they were taught, and they were taught that that was socially acceptable and that's okay, and that fair skin equals more beautiful and darker skin means that you're not as beautiful. And growing up in America, that's just not at all what we were taught, and that everyone is beautiful and everyone should be treated with respect. And so I started to understand that I couldn't be mad at my parents and my relatives for having these thoughts, but I did have the chance and opportunity to help change their thinking. And so I told my parents that by creating this blog, yeah, it is going to upset a few people, but those are the difficult conversations that we need to have with these people so that these mentalities and these thoughts stop there and they don't get passed on.
Yeah. I I joke with my friends because we're always like, I don't know, like those memes that are like, where do men get the audacity
Hmm.
and whatnot. But I my cousins and I were like, where do the aunties get the audacity? Because you said when you haven't seen someone in so long and like that's the first thing they say, or like We did like a really big family vacation. Like when I was younger, we went to Hawaii, and I mean, like we were in like elementary school, middle school, and we're in Hawaii. We're kids. We're like kind of applying sunscreen, but like a couple of the days, the aunties were saying like, "You're getting too dark," and I'm like, "It is June in Hawaii. Like we're having a good time. Like why would that be part of the conversation right now?" And I feel like as we get older and we like find our voice and like find those boundaries and we're able to start having those conversations, like it I think when you can open up the room to like a dialogue like that, like it gives everyone a chance to grow in that way. And I love that both of your parents have been supportive and like wanting to help you facilitate some of those conversations. So that's incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Um, okay. I'm gonna pause here. We're already at 20 minutes. Do you guys want to keep going a little bit longer and then like the dig deeper can be shorter, or because I feel like we're like getting tip of the iceberg. Like there's just so much to talk about.
Honestly, whatever works for you. If
Yeah.
it's however you want to, host it. So we're fine with anything.
Me and Shreya can keep talking for forever about any of this
Yeah,
stuff, so it's
yeah. It's
whatever you want
what?
to do.
It's 5:30. We could be sitting here till 12 o'clock. Why are we being so honest?
I love it. Okay, no, that's great. Okay, I will probably ask like two more questions then, and then we'll go into the dig deeper.
Yeah.
I will have a hard stop probably at 5 till 6, but that's totally fine. Okay, cool. Okay, let me find my train of thought really fast here. Um, okay, so I think with a lot of I think like content, media, platform-esque things like a blog, there's a lot of planning that goes into it because a lot of it is written, a lot of it takes time. And you both know how long it takes to write an article, especially one that is quality and that like touches on whatever it is that you wanted to touch on. What was that like for the two of you getting started as two people not living in the same place, getting ready for this next chapter of your lives? And kind of outlining what you wanted to talk about, because I feel like as soon as like you have a passion project and like you are passionate about it, there's so many directions it can go. So what was that like for both of you coming together with these different lived experiences and wanting to dive into it?
Yeah, so definitely in the beginning, it took a lot of planning, and just trying to figure out like, okay, first of all, what do we even want to call this blog? Do we need a logo? Do we need a graphic designer? Like logistically, it was a lot of things, and like, oh, we were living in different time zones, finding times that both worked for both of us and things like that, were difficult in the beginning. And then after that, once we started kind of realizing like, okay, this is what we want to do, this is our aim, this is our goal, we kind of set out a game plan of these are the topics we want to cover, at least for now. And then once we realize what our audience likes, what they don't like, we can go from there. So we started realizing that like our interviews became really popular, because there are people that people are recognizing from TikTok and other social medias that they already have a following, and these our viewers are also their common viewers, so they're interested in finding out their perspectives, based on what we interview them about, and it's like a nice collab to have. And then certain posts wouldn't do as well because sometimes like, just general informational posts about like cultural holidays and things like that weren't as attention grabbing, but we would still put them out because they're things that are important to us, because at the end of the day it is our platform and what we feel like we want to make a difference with. But kind of gauging how much interest would be there in certain posts versus others, kind of took the most time, and then deciding what we wanted to put our time towards. So that was like a big trial and error thing. But a big help with that was like the platform of Instagram. It has a lot of tools with polls and quizzes and things like that. So it's a really easy way to communicate with our audience, and get a feel for what they really like, into our posts. But planning is really like the biggest thing. Like we are like weeks and like months in advance of planning when we are doing like back to back posts, just so we have enough time to make them of good quality, like you mentioned.
Yeah. That's amazing. And I love that you are keeping a pulse on like what performs well and what people are interested in. But then you also went back and said, at the same time, we want to talk about what we want to talk about, and like we're gonna hold true to like what's important to us. So I love that. And I think that's like honestly one of my favorite parts about owning a business. Like you can like serve people in like a number of ways, but then you also at the end of the day get to like pursue what you want to pursue. That's
Yeah,
cool.
and kind of going off of what Nikita said about just planning, I remember when we first started off, we would sit on Zoom for probably 3 to 4 hours just together doing our work one at a time, just because we didn't really know how to go about it, especially in our very beginning posts. Obviously, now when we are putting a post up, me and Nikita will just sit down and call, break down each post, talk about what we want to do, what we want to put in each post, along with any research that we need, splitting up our work, sitting down and figuring out what the graphic is going to be, if there's anything I need to draw or put together. So obviously it's a lot easier now, and on top of that, if we want to do interviews too, sitting down and making sure we are creating a pool of really diverse interview questions. So, there's questions on the internet that our interviewee hasn't answered before. So sitting down and having those type of interviews and doing those type of posts take a lot more planning, but at the end of the day, it's all so rewarding.
That's awesome. That is so cool. Sorry, I was writing some things down because you guys just keep saying really, just really good things, and I want to like make sure I don't forget to ask about different things. That's amazing. That is, I feel like a lot of the time, like everything that everyone sees is like, I mean, it's shock and awe, but like it's months of planning and conversations and hours of like making sure like it's how you want it and that you have everything that you need. So I love that. I mean, is this the first business that both of you have started?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I that's incredible. I feel like I've been learning so much, but like the amount of planning that you've put into this, like at such an early stage is so incredible to see. Because I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs, like I feel like the entrepreneurial spirit is often like very go, go, go. And I don't have somebody who like will slow me down more, and I think it's so cool that both of you like are able to work together, and if one person doesn't think of it, then I have no doubt that some like the other one is like saying, "Well, do we need this or do we need that?" So, that's awesome. I love that. So, my question that I always ask on these interviews, is gonna be for both of you separately. So, you have to, self-reflect for a quick minute, and I apologize. I normally try to give this before we start the interview, so you have the whole interview to think about it, but here we are. So, I would love to know from 2 of you before we wrap up, how do you inspire yourself individually?
I can go first. So I think growing up, I've always just been such a writer. Even to this day, I think one of my biggest love languages is always just writing notes for people, writing letters. So the fact that I have this platform is so awesome. I think my younger self would be really proud of myself from me just writing random stories when I was 7 years old to truly inspiring the future and fostering so much change for the South Asian community is so amazing. And at the end of the day, Nikita and I, we have our personal goals of, our dream interviewees, posts that we want to put up someday, people that we hopefully want to meet someday too. And I think that is a continuing driving force in my life and what continues for me to put this blog out. So I guess inspiration for me is just knowing that my younger self, today, tomorrow, will always be proud of myself and for the work that I continue to do. And also just, knowing that I have all these awesome goals that I hope to reach one day, and just to know that, I am truly creating change in the world.
That's so beautifully said. I love that. Wow, okay.
For me, it's knowing that what we're actually doing is reaching people and making a difference. There's no bigger feeling of satisfaction than someone coming up to you and saying, "Oh my gosh, you're part of the Pasupu Blog," or "I saw your post," or something like that. And I didn't realize like how much of an impact this would have on me. I think almost for the first year of writing the blog, because we were in quarantine, we were stuck in our houses and we couldn't leave, and the only form of maybe this is reaching people is the numbers we were seeing on our posts. And yeah, the numbers are great and all, but at the end of the day, like, are they really making an impact? And we don't know if the numbers are translating into people actually changing their actions and their words, or if it's just people reading our posts to spite us, or to, like, to find a different opinion, or to disagree with us, and that's okay too. But coming into college, I had several experiences of people coming up to me saying, "Oh, I read your post about this and I really enjoyed it, and I used your resources and it allowed me to find something new and allowed me to like take charge of my mental health in that case or example." And I feel like that is the most inspirational feeling because it just motivates you to keep going and making more posts and reaching more people and spreading the message to older people and younger people and just helping everyone get on the same page and moving forward. And even like recently, we've both been busy. We haven't really had a chance to put up a post in a little bit. But I had someone a couple weeks ago come up to me and say, "Oh my gosh, you run the Pasupu blog. Like I read your posts." And it's just so heartwarming and to know that even like in our downtime when we don't have as much time, people are still seeing what we create. And that's just so special.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think we as people crave connection and especially like shared experiences in different ways. And so I think putting yourself out there and how you feel and what you've experienced is something that is not easy, but it brings people together in the most incredible ways. And so I'm so happy that both of you have gotten to experience that both together and then also with other people who have felt that. So just bravo to both of you. That's amazing. So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank
Thank you
you.
joining me for Founder to Founder. How can our community keep up with you? I know you mentioned Instagram. Do you mind sharing website and all the things?
Yeah, so you can follow us on Instagram at the Pasupu. I don't know if you want to include the spelling anywhere, but it's THEPASUPU. And then our website is thepuspu.blog. So just our Instagram handle .blog if you search it up on Google.
Amazing. Awesome. Well, thank you both so much. I cannot wait to continue following the blog and following both of you and just seeing all that you do. So thank you for joining.
Thank
Thank you
you,
for
and thank you
having
for
us.
having us.